I will pause for breath now. I know that was a fair amount of information to get through, but I hope you at least got a sense of the fact that in each of these areas, we're not stuck in a corner. There's a lot of interesting things going on that are going to be able to solve bits and pieces of this puzzle. But I think it's still a little bit overwhelming to think about how does this all really fit together? How much of this do I really have to understand as a user? How much of this do I really have to understand as a developer? And sort of where is it all headed? So I want to sort of switch gears now and sort of put all the pieces together. So let's start with you out on the internet, right? You're out there, you want to stay in touch with people, and you're kind of surrounded by the social web. And I would assert that this is going to continue. It's going to get bigger. The number of sites that are going to be out there that care about who you know, have some interesting aspect of your personality, of your activity, your expression, different sub-communities, this is just going to continue to multiply. And I mean, that is what made the web work, right? It's sort of just let a million flowers bloom, to twist an old phrase. Right? So that's going to sort of continue. So then how are you going to interact with all these places? Are you going to have to do all these technologies to each one of them individually? Are they all going to have to federate? How's that going to work? Well, I think the way things are playing out, and I think the way things should play out, is that there's room in the middle for a new class of services that are going to intermediate on behalf of the user to this whole sort of social web. Sort of help you get into the social cloud. So identity providers is a pretty obvious one, right? And the color coding here is not an accident, right? This is the sort of the who I am piece. So, Yahoo is now an OpenID provider. Why? Because they understand that part of being a valuable platform is that if I'm a Yahoo user, that's something I can go out and it's accepted all over the web. I can tell people, hey, I'm a Yahoo user, this is who I am. Right? It's very important for people who have a lot of these users. So all the big people who have portals and so forth, they realize that being an identity provider on behalf of their user is a very valuable service to provide. And obviously to all of these sites, if I can show up and I can say, hey, I've already got this Yahoo account and I've already got this data, that's very valuable to them to not have to make me sign up from scratch. And then content aggregators, that's a category that's relatively new. I think Pulse was sort of the first of the modern era of these sort of social content aggregators, starting last year, and since then you've had FriendFeed and Social Thing, and it seems like a new one every week. But I think this is actually a very critical layer, because in a world where there's so many of these websites, it's just impossible to go to every single one of them and keep touch with what's doing. And they're all changing in different frequencies, right? So some of the most useful connections I have are with people who maybe only post something, once a month or even a few times a year. But I really want to know about it when they do. But I obviously can't go check that site every day waiting for that once a year kind of post, right? So content aggregator is a way of saying, here's a place that I can go and stay in touch with what the people I care about are doing across a wide variety of sites, and start to set some rules about how I chunk people up in, friends, family, business, and how often I want to see them and who I want to hide. I think that's going to be a very important category. And you're going to see an increasing number of people, I think, who want to have something to say about that space. And then there's one piece that's sort of missing in the middle, right? It's that who I know piece. And there isn't really a category for that right now. But I assert that there will be, and it will be just as important as these other categories. And we're calling that social graph providers. Right? So Plaxo is definitely going to be a social graph provider. We're helping you build up a rich list of who you know, right? Not only on the social web, but through our traditional sync technology, right? We sync with Outlook and Mac and Thunderbird and Yahoo and Google and all these other places. And so over time, if you give me your business card and I put it in Outlook, Plaxo knows about it, right? And we're very invested in helping users build up a good list of who you know, right? Facebook also clearly, I think, will be a social graph provider. Not only have they built an amazing social graph, they're doing a lot of work now to help users curate it in a very fine-grained way with friends list and different permissions. And it makes sense that you'd be able to leverage that investment across the entire web, LinkedIn could be a great social graph provider for the business side of your social network, right? Maybe other sites will be really good at other particular niches, right? But I think you're going to have a lot of players who say, each of these sites can't just be pulling in my 1,000 Gmail contacts and trying to help me whittle down which ones I care about and then re-baconing them all to say, are you really my friend? There's a layer that needs to be there. So that's something I think you should be paying attention to. And some companies may only go after one or two of these. I think some companies may go after the whole enchilada, right? I think certainly right now, if you look at Plaxo and Facebook, and they're very much going after the whole enchilada. You have others that I think will be very happy to be good identity providers, and it's going to be a very interesting space. But I think this is the model of the ecosystem. It's the way the businesses tend to be evolving, it's the way the technologies favor, and I think it's the way that's going to be good for users. So I wanted to sort of take a moment and kind of imagine what life is going to be like in this world, because it's going to be honest sooner than we think.